I am so nervous right now. Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. It has been such a long time since I've filmed. Let me turn that off. Probably gonna be a long video, so just sit down, grab a snack, do whatever. Today's video is going to be about my giving birth and postpartum video. This is gonna be raw and just very to the point. So my hair is a freaking mess, my natural hair. That's why I popped this wig on. I do not want to show it, so if it's too much, oh well. I did leave you guys an option to drop me down some questions on my Instagram story, and you guys did. You guys actually left me a lot of questions. We're gonna go ahead and start with my birth experience, giving birth, and then I'll move forward to my postpartum and the Q&As. I was 37 weeks when no, 36 weeks, I'm sorry. I was 36 weeks pregnant when I gave birth. If you guys don't know, I had a baby boy. His name is Neymar. He was born July 2nd, 2019, and he is my rainbow baby. So this is why me talking about this is it's just gonna be very bittersweet and special to me, and also emotional to me. I was 36 weeks. I was at home chilling, and even with me, my feet were so swollen. I didn't have preeclampsia, luckily, but even with me being big as fuck, I was so big, you guys. I was so big, and my son was not a big baby. My water broke at home, so I was up taking the dogs out, and I took them outside, and as soon as I came back in, when you come from my backyard, you walk into the kitchen, boom. As soon as I walked back into the kitchen, my water broke, and it was just a gush of water. I had butterflies in my stomach, and I knew that it was my water breaking because obviously I don't pee that much. So I was like, okay, this is it. I started freaking out. I was completely by myself, so I was, you could only imagine being a first-time mom and being pregnant. So I FaceTimed my mom, and my brother answered, and he was like, what? And I was like, pass me to mom. And he was like, why? What happened? And I'm like, my water freaking broke. And they were like all going crazy, and they were like, we're rushing over there right now, we're picking you up, you better be ready. I didn't have time, you guys, to prepare anything. Like for myself, I was completely soaked from the waist down. I didn't bring my bag, I didn't bring my diaper bag. I already had his diaper bag ready, but I didn't really prepare a lot for myself, which is what I'll go into as far as like postpartum and everything. So they rushed me to labor and delivery, and I got into a bed and everything, and I was barely at a 1 when I got to the hospital. And my fiance had seen my messages and my calls a little bit after that, and he showed up to the hospital like 10 minutes after we showed up. I didn't know much about it at the time. Obviously it was my first time. If you guys know, this is not my first pregnancy. I did have a miscarriage, but it was my first time actually, carrying full term. So they gave me Pitocin. They had to speed up my process, and to try to speed it up, pick up the process for labor. I got there at July 1st, 2019, and my water broke that day, and I got there like around 1:00 p.m. I gave birth the next day, so almost 24 hours after I gave birth to my son. After that, they just kept tossing me back and forth, and then I started to contract more and more. I was getting more dilated, but it was slowly processing, so it wasn't happening as quick. Before my contractions started getting worse, I decided to get the epidural because I was nervous, I was scared. I didn't want it to get to the point where they were going to be too bad that I wouldn't be able to stay still once I chose to get the epidural. I ended up doing my makeup later on that day. Mind you, this was the same day. And then around like, I think 3 to 4 a.m. next day already, I was barely like at a 4 or 5. So they kept checking me every so hours. I think it was like 5, no, it was like 6 in the morning that day, July 2nd already, but it was like early in the morning. They had checked me again, the nurses, and they said I was like at an 8, going on an 8.5. And I think one thing I do regret about getting the epidural done early on is that at that point, when I hit that far along and dilating, I wasn't no longer numb. Like, my epidural faded away. I was literally crying so loud because I just couldn't take the pain. I had to go and tell the nurses, hey, it's wearing off, and they had to come and give me more. But throughout that time, it was just so painful. And shout out to the ones who went absolutely with no medication, no epidural, completely natural, because I give you props. I would not be able to do that. And then like about 8 to 9 in the morning, that's when I've already had reached a 9.5, 10. So I was in labor for about 22, 23 hours, I would say. Honestly, I think what I would say was really hard for me was because they had given me more medicine and numbed me up to keep me numb. They tell you to, well, they told me to start pushing when you feel pressure, right? So I was completely numb from the waist down. I felt no pressure. You guys, I will say that I pushed for about 3 hours. At that point, I was not well rested. It was hard for me to go to sleep while I was waiting and waiting and waiting throughout that whole process, because they were constantly waking me up to check me, and I was just wiped out. I was so exhausted. I didn't know when my pressure was coming because they weren't really telling me anything. So I was just like, hello, how am I gonna pop this baby out? He was stuck in the same spot for a long time. And at that point, like when I was opening up already and he was trying to make his arrival, his head was stuck in the same spot for a long time. At 10:32, I think it was 10:32 a.m. if I'm right, he made his arrival. I did have to get a little bit of assistance from my OB. She used the what is it, the vacuum instrument. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, if that's what it's called. I forgot what it's called. It was such a blur to me, but she had to help me get him out because he was stuck, and his heart was dropping, and they had to give me oxygen, and I had to relax because it was just so difficult. I was getting worried, and you know, it was just hard. He weighed 5 pounds and 12 ounces, so almost 6 pounds. And for a gestational diabetes pregnancy, that's what I was really surprised about. I think that it was just because I really like watched what I ate, and I was just trying to be as careful as possible. Thank goodness I did not have a C-section. So that's pretty much what happened. And it was just the best feeling ever. I will say I was nervous at first because my son was very quiet. He wasn't crying. I kept looking over like, yo, is he okay? Is he okay? Like, I kept asking so many times. That is pretty much the whole experience with giving birth. I'll go ahead and do the Q&As as well. So let's do some questions first. A lot of questions were, and I just screenshotted them, I have them right here, but did you have natural birth or C-section? Like I mentioned right now, throughout my birth experience, I did have him vaginal. One of the questions is, what was the hardest thing after having your baby? So I will start talking about my postpartum. So I feel like the hardest part after having my baby was adjusting. When you're a first-time parent, when you're a first-time mom, everything is just so new. It's so fresh to you. Like, it's a whirl of emotions and changes and adjustments into your life that it's really hard, and it takes time for you to adjust, which was the hardest thing about me. With having, you know, zero amount of sleep, you know, zero amount of time for yourself, and all of the I don't, the hormones and everything after you give birth, like it's like you're still pregnant but you feel empty. So I think that was just the hardest part about me. My postpartum was very difficult, I will say, because after I gave birth and I came home, like I felt crazy. I felt empty. Like I felt so many things at once that people do not talk about. Like I feel like I did not take care of myself the way that I needed to heal properly. I feel like I didn't have the proper care. I didn't have, you know, I didn't have that demand to take care of myself and remind myself that I need to take care of myself the way that I need to, because my body just went through so much. I wish that I had family support. I wish that I had you know, my mother with me, or you know, my mother-in-law, my suegra, somebody here with me to guide me through some things and to remind me or help me out, because I wouldn't eat, I wouldn't drink water, I wouldn't, you know, sleep. I feel like I was too hard on myself and I just forgot everything. I was just too concentrated on learning how to become a mom, and it was just so overwhelming. I didn't have a good schedule. I didn't have a good routine. I just didn't. I wish my mother would have been here. Mom, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. I don't mean to say it in a way where I'm not like appreciative. I just wish that somebody other than my fiance, because he would help, but like in the first couple of weeks, it was so hard that he would cook me a meal and I would take like a bite or two and leave it there. Like I had no appetite. I just wasn't in the right mindset. Will say that I did have the baby blues, which is not postpartum depression, but it is common for the first 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks. Hormones were everywhere. I felt paranoid. It was like the hardest month of my life. I wish I would have took care of myself more. I will say that. And I just wish that I had like a mother figure. Like I wish I had somebody to remind me or help me to care of me, if that makes sense. I will say that that is one of the most challenging things for me. I wish that would have been way different, because I feel like I could have healed, I could have been happier, I could have felt better for myself, and I didn't take care of myself. That is a huge thing that I've been wanting to let out, because I feel like I don't talk to anyone about it. I've talked to my fiance in the past about it, but I feel like he only understands to a certain point, because he didn't go through the whole pregnancy. He didn't carry for the whole 9 months. He didn't go through birth. Like it was all on me, and the changes were all on me physically and emotionally in a different level, if that makes sense. I wish I would have had more help in that aspect. How long was labor for you? Like I had mentioned earlier, labor was about 22-23 hours for me. Do you think you're still going through postpartum? Well, no, this is like me just talking about my postpartum experience, not like me having postpartum depression. I luckily did not get postpartum depression, but I deal with a lot of depression and anxiety on my own way before I even got pregnant and gave birth, and it comes and goes. So that's what really scared me, and it still to this day comes and goes. And I feel like nobody talks about that. I feel like no one warns a first-time mother, hey, you're gonna have all these hormones, all these emotions, you're gonna feel this way for the first couple of weeks. Like no one talks about that. and I feel like it needs to be voiced more because it's so important. Like there's so many moms out there who are still battling with postpartum depression, or they're going through the baby blues like myself, and they feel like they're just going crazy. It's not fun. Like it's just not fun. But I will say that it does get better, and if it doesn't, I would definitely, you know, reach out for help because it's so important. Next question is, did they give you any other medicine other than the epidural while being in labor? No, they did not. Not that I remember, not that I know of, other than the Pitocin when I first got there to the hospital to try to speed things up. How long did it take you to push him out? That was already answered. I think I did say that it was about 2.5 to 3 hours. Okay, there's so many questions, you guys. Is your baby a good sleeper? Do you feel rested most days or sleep deprived? So my son was waking up every 2 to 3 hours when he was a newborn for the first 3 months to eat. So that was really challenging and hard for us. Luckily, my son, once he turned 3 months, like a day or two before he turned 3 months, he started sleeping through the night. I thought that day was never going to come, but he is now. He's a good baby with that. He sleeps through the night now. He sleeps in between 8 to 10 hours straight. I was sleep deprived though, always. Before that, it was so hard, you guys. I would not wake up like for the day, like actually wake up without going back to sleep till like 5 p.m. Am I breastfeeding? If so, what foods do you avoid? No, I'm not breastfeeding, so that is out of the question. Once I did get home, I did have a lot of milk, and I was pumping, but then I stopped taking care of myself, going back to that. So I feel like I dried out really quickly. Has your skin changed at all since giving birth? Did you notice any differences? Yes. So I have very acne prone skin. I have a lot of scarring. When I was pregnant with my son, I never really broke out. My skin was on 10, glowing. It was nice. But after I gave birth, I do get a lot of hormonal breakouts mainly, or if I'm stressing out, but mainly just hormonal breakouts. And so my skin is back to that. Sucks. Wish it would have stayed. But yeah, that answers that. What baby products do you swear by? I don't really know. I don't know. Like, I mean, a lot of people say that like for like diaper creams and stuff like that, they say that they don't like Desitin, but my son's pediatrician recommended Desitin. I like that for his little butt. Baby Dove, Johnson Johnson's. That's pretty much it. Like, I don't... The purple shampoo and the purple lotion. Do you have any nicknames for Neymar? Well, my friend Bianca, Bianca, if you're watching this, shout out to you, girl. But when I was pregnant, she started calling my son Little Nene. So I sometimes call him Little Nene. A lot of people are not a huge fan of it, but it's a cute little nickname, I guess. You know what I'm saying? We call him a lot of weird things, me and my fiance. We have like little insiders, like little nickname insiders for him. Like we call him Little Stinky Butt, Pookie Butt, stuff like that. Like, it's just weird. Do you have any stitches? No, I do not, because I gave birth vaginal, and I did tear. I had a 2nd-degree tear and I had to get stitched up, but those are way beyond healed already. So I forgot to tell you guys about that one. Another question, did you get postpartum depression? How did you cope with it, if you did, or did you seek professional help? I luckily did not. No, I did not get postpartum depression, but on my follow-up appointment, I did mention to my OBGYN that I did have baby blues, but I did let her know that after like the first 4-week mark that they went away, which is a good sign. So if you still feel like that and you feel hopeless and you feel like you still feel the same and it's just like really bad, I do please ask that you go and reach out for help, because it's not a joke. It's not something to have. It's not good. It's not healthy. So please seek help. go to your doctor, and your doctor will be able to help you from there. How would you describe the pain of childbirth to someone who's never given birth before? Don't have kids. No, I'm just playing. Honestly, when you get the epidural, it helps a lot, but get it at the right time, get it when the time is right, so that way you don't have to go through, you know, your epidural not sticking through and not staying, because then you feel every little thing, and that's what kind of happened to me. I still felt a lot. I didn't feel just pressure, I felt a lot of pain because my epidural at that point was just wearing out. I have to go through it to know what it's like. Ooh, I like this question. Who does Neymar look more alike? The majority of the people say that my son looks like his dad, but I also get a lot of people that tell me that he looks like me. I believe that he looks like the both of us, a good 50-50, and I'm not just saying that. I really do believe that he looks like both of us. So I don't know. Did I have any complications during my pregnancy? The only complication that I had was getting gestational diabetes, but I was able to manage it and not be put on insulin. Just watching my diet and taking metformin, that's the only thing that I did, which was pretty good. And I did have to get seen a lot towards the end of my pregnancy because I was considered high risk due to that reason, but that's pretty much it. How did I meet my partner? That's like a whole different story, I believe. I don't know if I want to go into that, but if you guys want to see like a video on that, like a separate video, let me know in the comments below. How do you feel about people judging moms who don't breastfeed negatively? I feel like some moms low-key shame the moms who formula feed, and I personally don't like that. I don't appreciate that, because I did purposely try to breastfeed my son in the beginning, and he was doing well, but because of more on my end, because I was struggling so much on my end, I was no longer be able to continue. So just zip it. If you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. If you're a mom and you're still feeding your child the way that you need to be, you still carry that bond with your baby. That's all that matters. That's my opinion on that. What was your favorite part of your pregnancy? Eating and sleeping whenever I wanted. My favorite part. That was amazing. And feeling my son kick and move, that was amazing too. When did I find out and how far along was I? I found out I was pregnant when I was about, I think, 8 weeks. What was your biggest struggle during your pregnancy? I think this is the last question. So my biggest struggle, yeah, I think that's what she said, right? Yeah, during my pregnancy was looking at my body changing. I loved my body before I got pregnant, and watching my body change, have so many stretch marks, loose skin now, because I just wasn't taking care of myself. No me andaba fajando, you know, I wasn't fajada after I gave birth. Like, I wasn't doing what I needed to do, what was necessary to take care of myself. I know that I wasn't gonna snatch back and bounce back right after, because my body's so completely different now, and I think that was what was very challenging for me to accept while I was pregnant. I have a lot of stretch marks. No matter how much I tried to take care of myself with balms and stuff like that, it's just genetics. It's just they came out anyway. I think now it's very hard for me to adjust. I still battle with it every single day. I try to boost my self-esteem up. I try to remind myself, hey, I'm beautiful. I went through a lot. I carried a whole baby. I gave birth. I still have to remind myself that every single day. And I'm 6 months postpartum now. Like, my son is 6 months old. I look at people on social media, other moms that, you know, and this sounds so wrong, but I don't envy them, but like I get jealous sometimes, because I wish that I was able to be that person to bounce back, to have a nice body, to still look bomb, to still have the body that I had before. And that sounds so, I don't know if this is the word, cliche. I don't know. It's so wrong for me to think that way, because I gave birth. I grew a whole baby for 9 months, and it's just, I can't get it through my head. Like, it's an insecurity. Like, we all know that we have insecurities and we put things in our own minds. It's so hard being a mom, especially a first-time mom. You have, you know, but all moms out there, we all know that we have the tendency of putting our child before anything and anybody. It's not about anything else. It's not about anybody else. It's not about you anymore. It's about your child. And it's very hard to try to learn that, and then also learn that, hey, you need to put yourself first as well. You need to take care of yourself as well. You need to remember to take care of yourself. And I feel like I still struggle with that. I try not to put myself down, because I know that my stretch marks, my loose skin represents who I am, and I am mom. I am mommy to Neymar. I feel like that is one of the biggest challenges, is accepting the change and adapting to the changes that have been made. Like, I look back at photos before I got pregnant, my body, my face is definitely a little bit more chunkier. I try to, you know, I work with clothing brands. I try to take photos, and I'm like, I hate it. Like I hate my body, and I look at myself and I'm just disgusted. And I know that my body will never be the same again, and I don't want to be beating myself up for it. But just know it's normal. It's challenges that we as mothers go through every single day. So if you go through that and you still deal with it and you still struggle with it, just know that you are not alone. And people don't voice that enough. People do not voice it enough at all. Our self-esteem goes from like 150 to a damn 10. That's how I felt, and I still feel like that some days. That's why I come on here and I create, and I remember to doll myself up, to create looks, to create content, because it helps me remind myself to love myself. And this is just what my body is now. It's, you know, if one day I want to get lipo or get, you know, a surgery or do whatever, then that'll happen. I don't know what will happen in the future. I still have to learn how to love myself, and I'm getting there, but that's just the struggle. But if you guys do think of any other questions, comment down below and let me know. Also, if you want to talk about something, let me know. I will link all of my social medias in the description. I just want to put this out there that I wanted to voice this and I wanted to speak about this, because I want you guys to know how it genuinely is when you give birth, throughout pregnancy, everything. I want you guys to know my personal experience, things that I wish I would have done differently, things that I felt that I've went through, and just know that it is the most rewarding thing, but almost the most challenging thing. Just please take care of yourself. I feel like I really wish I would have taken care of myself more, and I'm, you know, starting to do that more now. I would do it all over again for him. He is my world. He is amazing and I love him. He is just, he's my heart. I really do hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully you guys got to know me a little bit more, got to, know a little bit more about my birth experience, my postpartum experience. If you like it, please give me a huge thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I am trying to upload a little bit more now. Hopefully I can stay consistent. I'm really excited about getting this video up for you guys, but I'm mainly active on my Instagram and Twitter, so I'll leave those two socials linked down below if you guys choose to follow me. Yeah, that's pretty much it, you guys. Until next time.